Hi, my name is Saliha Mazlum. I am research assistant at Zonguldak Bulent Ecevit University. And this is my first international and English presentation, so please excuse any language mistakes. Today, I will be presenting my paper, and it is a doctoral assignment, actually, I developed with my professor, Rahman Dağ. First of all, I will briefly outline the convention's background, our study's aim, method, and findings. Within this framework, the Istanbul Convention is the main focus of our study. Therefore, I would like to begin by providing a short overview of the Istanbul Convention. As you know, the idea that violence against women comes from gender inequality is quite recent. In the same way, the development of related policies by state is also a new development. Over time, it became clear that violence against women has broad effects beyond the family, and it cannot be handled only through family policies. This realization made policies on this issue more important. In this context, international agreements on gender equality and violence against women have become more prominent. One of these agreements is the Council of Europe Convention on Preventing and Combating Violence Against Women and Domestic Violence, commonly known as the Istanbul Convention. The convention came into force on August 1st, 2013. It was prepared by representatives from the member state of the Council of Europe. The aim was to address and prevent violence against women and domestic violence. It entered into force in many European countries such as United Kingdom, Ukraine, Germany, Greece, while some like Hungary or Slovakia have signed but not implemented it. Azerbaijan has not signed it at all. The Istanbul Convention is the first international treaty that defines the concept of gender. For this reason, it plays a key role in preventing violence against women. It states that such violence comes from deep-rooted social norms. These norms do not treat women and men equally. However, in some countries like Poland, Hungary, and Ukraine, there are ongoing debates. Many argue that the terms gender and sexual orientation might harm the family and social structure. They also say these terms do not fit with basic social and religious values. And as you can see in the map, Turkey is the only black country here in this map. Because in line with some debates in other countries, Turkey has similar debates around this subject, and this black color shows us Turkey's unique character, I think. If we look at other country, Poland has been seeking to withdraw from the convention since 2020 and argues that it disrespects religion and promotes controversial ideologies regarding gender. Hungary has refused to ratify, claiming it fosters destructive gender ideologies and supports illegal immigration. In Ukraine, it faced an 11-year delay in ratification until 2020. Attributed to claims that the concepts of gender and sexual orientation were inconsistent with Ukraine's moral values. During its membership in the Council of Europe, Russia signed but didn't ratify the convention. Yes, and Russia signed but didn't ratify the convention, citing conflicts with traditional moral norms and state family policy foundations. Conservative figures and representatives of the Armenian Apostolic Church criticized the convention, and they argued that it implies a third sex and contradicts the Armenian constitution. And Armenian constitution says there are only two sexes in constitution, but the convention recognizes four. And on the other hand, human rights activists also voiced criticism in Armenia. They said the opponents ignore violence and hide it behind the idea of traditional values. In line with this, Turkey signed the convention in 2011 in Istanbul, and it came into force in 2014. Before and during the ratification process in Parliament, the convention was mostly seen in a positive light. However, in 2021, the Istanbul Convention became a hot topic in Turkish politics and society. Those who oppose it claim that the concept of gender doesn't fit with Turkish family, social, and religious structure. As a result, Turkey withdrew from the convention in 2021. This decision created a deep divide in Turkish society. Supporters and opponents of the convention clashed during recent presidential and parliamentary elections. In this context, our study looks at the Istanbul Convention as a field of struggle. This struggle is between local values and universal values. Our research is important because Turkey is the first and only country to withdraw from the convention. We base our work on public debates in Turkey. We also look at newspaper articles and statements from politicians and influential public figures. From these sources, we saw that the debates around the Istanbul Convention generally focus on three themes: gender and sexual orientation, mediation and reconciliation mechanism, and religion and honor. Then, to explore how local and universal values came into conflict, we use interviews with elite and well-known figures. Accordingly, the study's sample consisted of politicians, journalists, writers, and association leaders or members. These individuals are well known in Turkey and have a high potential to influence public opinion. In total, we conduct interviews with 16 individuals. These figures either supported or opposed the Istanbul Convention. In this way, we try to understand how local and universal values conflict through the expressions of both supporters and opponents. The interviews were designed to capture social, cultural, religious, and familial responses to the Istanbul Convention, and we also asked for their views on gender and universally accepted values. I would like to talk a little about local and universal values before the findings. Today, local and universal values are concepts that create serious debate in many areas. International treaties such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, CEDAW, and the Istanbul Convention emphasize universal values. These treaties claim that the principles they contain are globally valid. As a result, many debates focus on these ideas. At the most basic level, local values are linked to culture, and culture is a human creation. It always has a specific origin. Because of this, most cultural expressions are valid only locally. Many of them claim only relative truth or importance. Some traditional societies share common features, for example, low tolerance for divorce and homosexuality, strong family loyalty, male dominance in both social and political life, and the general tendency toward authoritarianism. In these societies, traditions is often very important. Religion also plays a significant role in daily life and social norms. Values like social justice, open-mindedness, and equality are seen as universal values. Meanwhile, values such as devoutness, respect for traditions, and humility are listed as traditional values. Universal values are often viewed as essential to human rights. However, they also face criticism. Some argue that they are rooted in Western ideologies. This creates concern, especially in post-colonial contexts, about imposing one culture's values on another. Those who support the idea of universal values focus on positive values, such as the Golden Rule. They also point to harmful practices like female genital mutilation. These practices are banned under the Istanbul Convention and widely condemned. Many international agreements are criticized for creating tensions. In these cases, local values, universal values, religion, and women's rights often clash. From the interviews, we saw that the supporters of the convention define gender as the roles assigned to men and women. These roles are passed down through generations as a result, tradition and custom. Supporters argue that these roles should change, and the inequality in these roles push women into the background of social, economic, and political life. They believe that that traditional structures must evolve to achieve gender equality. This view also includes the concept of religion, honor, and reconciliation or mediation. Supporters say that religion and honor often misunderstood in society. This misunderstanding puts women in a weaker position. They believe that religious teachings are often distorted by tradition. Regarding reconciliation and mediation, supporters are in favor of banning these practices. They worry that women may be pressured into reconciliation. Also, in violent family settings, women's human rights might be violated. These mechanisms are seen as protecting a patriarchal system that marginalizes women and resists social change. In short, supporters of the Istanbul Convention focus on ending violence against women, achieving gender equality, and promoting women's rights. They believe these problems cannot be solved within a patriarchal system. Supporters advocate for international frameworks such as the Istanbul Convention, and they argue that it is based on universal human rights and values. It is important to note here that supporters are not against local values or concepts like tradition and custom. What they oppose are traditions that view women as secondary. When it comes to the sexual orientation, supporters are not fully united. Most say that, okay, most say that the convention's mention of sexual orientation doesn't mean legitimizing homosexuality, but some believe that homosexuality should be accepted. Opponents of the convention, however, approach gender from an ideological standpoint. They think that seeing gender only as male and female role is not enough. They associate the term gender with ideas that, like desexualization or the creation of a third gender. They believe such interpretations go against Turkish society and the family structure. They see these changes as beginning with the individual and spreading to society. From the interviews, we saw that the opponents also agree that religion and honor are often used in ways that harm women. They believe that women and men are equal in value. They say that real Islamic teachings support this equality. And if we make a general assessment based on the interviews, we see a clear difference in priorities. Opponents focus on traditions, culture, and the structure of the Turkish family and society. They see these as locally valuable. They believe that a legal system built on local values can help prevent violence against women. When comparing both sides, we see that supporters focus on violence against women and gender equality, while opponents prioritize the family. This creates a divide, I think. One side focuses on the individual and the woman, the other side focuses on society and the family. This creates a field of struggle around these concepts. Supporters emphasize the individual and universal values in the convention. They believe this will bring more equality. Opponents emphasize society and the family. They want to protect the Turkish family and local values through the tradition and custom. Finally, when it comes to violence against women, opponents support solutions that rely on local values. Thank you for listening to me.